we have Anas lawyer, one of his representatives or his counsels, Evans Selassie Adeka. He's on the line to speak to us on this very matter. Good evening, lawyer.
Good evening, Kevin.
To make it easy for us, we are one of the lawyers for Anas, and I want to state again, Udini Evans Selassie Adeka, renowned lawyer. Bepacho, can you run us through how it started and how we got to know today, say, a judgment in the New Jersey court, Abba?
Okay, Mr. P. You know, the interesting thing is, I quite remember that you were sued in the U.S. sometime in 2021.
Yes.
And that actually caused my clients to begin inquiring about possibly if there was anything out there, whether it will be actionable in the U.S. Mm. So you have some significance to today's events. So shortly after, when you were going through your motion to dismiss, we actually took a keen interest in that case and reviewed all the pleadings. Mm. And during that time also, my client informed me of a video that was circulating on social media. I just say, and someone just like what kind of about my client. Mm. So, like, you know, as the intellectuals that we are, we started opening the books and try to see where we can lay a claim. And so, interesting enough, I mean, after reviewing the video, I you know, in our training, there's something that we are taught. So, in your case, no, it has to pass the test, and the case has to stand on all fours, which means that you do an analysis of whether there's jurisdiction in place, whether you have all the elements of each claim that you want to bring, you know. So we went through all of that, and my conclusion was yes, on the basis of video now, my client is send them, you know. You tweet back court New Jersey, as I say, papa no video no so papa na and no mun sam kire say o kase fi ni fie New Jersey. Now when you say you move for so no the diaspora is very important. Obviously, what you do is testament to that fact. And you know, there was an audience that he spoke to. We're Ghana for. They all take a keen interest in the happenings in Ghana, especially the politics in Ghana. So we thought, you know, there was solid grounds for us to be in the court in New Jersey. So I advised my clients accordingly. Now, when you say so no a lawyer. So obviously, he was an integral part of what was going on in the preparatory stage. At that time, I am a U.S. trained lawyer, but I currently only practice in Ghana. And you know, there was a team of us. I'd like to say congratulations to my learned colleague Oded Crow. He was a part of yes, he was counsel of record in Ghana. So I pulled him into the research, and we drafted a complaint. And like Mekai a lawyer, so we did the work, and he actually filed it himself. So you know, after the preliminary back and forth, you know, initially the case was we sued in 2022.
Okay. Yes.
We filed suit.
That's what I'm
sometime, I think.
The complaint.
Yeah, sometime, I think, in the summer of 2022.
May 17th, 2022.
Yes. And you know, by law, no, there was a period by which Yapapano Anka was or responded with what is known as an answer. So Yapapano Anka filed a response, and my case no call into default. Now, after a period of default, you can actually go for judgment. Now, a case near Fale, we filed on 3 counts. But I couldn't say or say a chrome or a chrome 4. The second one was or you would in terms of Onuna or behind the medal of Yenuya Ahmed Swale.
Yeah.
Now, the third one, so say Yenuya no a serial killer in terms of Chinese for Bibribi Ghana. And then the fourth one is or a criminal, the blanket word criminal. And then the fifth one by implication, or say, behind would same biana, that means say biana no a trigger man and also no will be second and say perform the physical act that led to the foreseeable events, which is obi a. So we also included a count that he is that he claims that my client a co-conspirator in multiple serial killings. So that was basically the gravamen of our complaint. And when it went on undefended after the response time now, we began to make preparations to move for judgment. But being that I was in Ghana and we are all based in Ghana, we reached within our network and we partnered with two brilliant lawyers who I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate. Agyapomg Esquire, he was the father figure of the team of lawyers, and a brilliant trial lawyer by the name of Andrew Dehere. These are all brilliant Ghanaian lawyers on this case. And at that point, we recruited them as counsel of record, and the case went. At that point, Kennedy's lawyers came in, obviously because near the judgment for the full $30 million. And so he hired counsel, and counsel came and also did his thing. Reopen default. They argued that they had a solid defense, and I think right around then, and I almost got judgments from Ghana. No, really see it. And I don't know, so say almost defense to case I
because
New Jersey.
We need Ghana. So case no
exactly.
In terms of no almost case. Okay.
So as defense against, but the interesting thing is that the defamation sits here no. Say come back there the work for court. It's a separate case.
Yeah.
It's not to me to Ghana and from the defending way. You still have to prove the truth of it. And this time, in this jurisdiction, the law is the same essentially because but you sound so free other countries. There are certain times that even though of presidential value, I just said, judge into me so India, but to me the two na senior especially in cases maybe you decided that type of a case. And Emrano is the same as Ghana. Procedurally, there are certain nuances, sometimes in terms of certain dates, you have to do certain things by. And also in New Jersey, Emra drafted complaints. We were fully aware that we were required to prove what we were claiming by a higher standard than in Ghana.
Yeah.
Yes. In this case, and not even that. In this case, we were required to prove our case not by the normal civil standard, but by a clear and convincing evidence standard.
Okay.
And they responded with that, and they were able to successfully reopen the default, which paved way for them to file an answer. And they filed an answer which essentially claimed that there was some sort of back and forth between him and Anas. And, we took it for what it's worth and we forged on. And we finally got our trial date sometime earlier this year and it was postponed. And then we finally went to trial last Monday. We started trial on Monday. And we put up our case. My client testified. He testified. He brought other witnesses, and after listening to both sides, the difference between what happened with Ghana and trial by jury. And judge, or judge back one I say judge me, one I say judge me, and send a video seminar. But normal people among the streets of New Jersey, tax-paying citizens, and in this case, we started off with veneer. That's the technical word for when the prospective jurors are brought in. We're from a veneer. The veneer of 60 citizens, tax-paying citizens of the state of New Jersey, specifically Newark, New Jersey, and its surroundings, were brought in, and after what is known as Boadaya, which is the process by which they are questioned to see if they have any sort of bias or anything that will stand
for Ghana for no ye vetiomo say bia
Yeah, verse 2. Yeah, verse 2 just say obi nim asem hu bia na so nim obi a asem we fan ho ana say obi wo hwa bia nyame bi osom no.
Yeah.
So we went through all of that. That was day one. That took from area to the end of the day. And so on Tuesday, we came to court and we had our opening statements. They had their opening statements. And then we proceeded to put on our evidence. And at the close of the evidence, the jury was instructed, judge, in this case, judge, Emrano. Na Omodiama, jury, no church, King first. No more so amo paper Omodibeko inside. Aqua decide the different deliberations. Me nim the son of a but me so say because okay. Okay. And you know, there are some more about Thursday about 4:30. Yeah, the church room running now, and there are some more 4:30. Into now, I dream say we be an 4:30. No, caught a pump right around that time, which is I believe consistent with the practice in I know it's consistent with the practice in Ghana. Into no, no cry. I dream so. Pepe be at Nana. Take a deep breath and reflect on what has transpired during the past 4 days. And about 20 minutes later, we got word that the jury. So as part of the defense, I think it's only fair that Meka charges counts now the buy and the civil claims now the buy.
The defense.
His defense was also although Oka said it was some sort of just based banter between him and Union. He came to court and asserted truth as his defense.
Time I court was say sa counting na mode bono no say one anas back and forth, right? The only claim or make it or say a banter. I just say we can't wait internet and share or no they're not all can you say obi to be more almost tomorrow.
But all you do court with that was not
no. And your son of okay, Ura court no G2.
Yeah, be or maintaining the position say no can or down standing by no kind.
Okay.
Basically, Raymond Chester practice no crane di no onye boni bia.
Okay.
So to support that, no, or the move you try your internet to who watches a watchman. But the announced by as on only defense, and so the jury had the opportunity to evaluate that and factored that in the analysis. And obviously, it was not the weight that they wanted the jury to accord with. So jury never bugui. And about 20 minutes later, the jury came back with a verdict, and there were a multiplicity of very quick. And there was a multiplicity of questions that were posed to the jury. That's the way how they arrived at the decision. It's, and also unanimous. People who were picked off the streets of not picked off the streets of New Jersey, but they're from based on address, voter registration data. And but within 20 minutes, they saw through everything and said no. So they came back and there was not even one juror that sided with Yapapana.
All against
8-0 on every count and on every question that was posed to the jury, including damages now about no be doing and also crown. There was a unanimous decision. I just say it was a solid decision of the jury. 20 minutes said there was no doubt in our presentation to what you kind of lay people. These are not experts in the law.
Yeah, they are just
these are lay
people who just sat and used their common sense to come to a conclusion.
No. I would not say use their. I would not say use their common sense.
Listen to you and they listen to the other part. It makes sense though.
And then the law is the law. No judge in this world has any power to bend the law. That sort of conduct is what causes strife and war in places.
Yeah.
America had the judge actually before the judge kind jury instruction, but catch jurors and say, oh no, only to be a assassin woman and you won't go between the sale of a camera at Strom. And that's how it went. But you know what's interesting about Nisi and or a lawyer contrary, even though people don't give him credit for that.
At least Bonidina Anas asem na working.
But Anas, Anas. Or also a very astute lawyer, Onimum Bia, Yagrimano. And some people walk cry a car on Jintumu, but sometimes a team of legal team to we come to a compromise. Now, he has been adamant about clearing his name because I have a personal experience of understanding. It's one of the worst things that can happen to someone.
Yeah.
And he absolutely took the position there. He wanted a trial. He's not interested in any settlement. He's not here for the money. He's here to clear his good name that he has built over time. And in his profession, at this time, Anka also started doing one. So he always maintained that he wanted a trial to the point where sometimes there was a disagreement in the legal team. Now, procedurally, America, peace. Schedule there, and from this time to this time, staff that work out we are dedicating it to your case. It's no small matter.
I know. I've been there. It's not easy.
Before they will go to trial, there's mandatory settlement conference. I bet say at this maybe by this time we'll be say grown. Or they'll commit to the rights and senses and decide, this shouldn't go on because, yes. And I acquire, unfortunately, me, Anas disagreed with me, but I prepared a settlement memorandum that sought to settle this case for $18 million, just like the jury came back. As you know, these days, we have all kind of tools that we can use to predict certain things.
Before you go ahead, this is where the contention is, and people saying 80 million, others saying a year 30 million. Now when you read,
well, we'll come to that. Let me clarify. Let me just clarify.
Yeah.
Okay. Complaint the coin. Yeah, claim for $30 million, $30 million.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. And what I'm saying is that at before the mandatory settlement conference, before the jury is empaneled, even though my client had firmly informed me he had no intention of settling this case because he believes that he ought to go to a jury of his peers to clear his name. But maybe let's just prepare our settlement memorandum, be thorough and be reasonable.
Yeah.
And even though he protested, I prepared a settlement memorandum that sought to settle this case for $18 million US. Okay. Now you do settlement conference, about court. Now the lawyers just say what he was willing to settle this matter for, and they said $10,000. So honestly,
it's clarification is very, very important. Normally Ghana.
Okay.
Into Muko Drew Hono. Anas initially, you kind of simple street language, and the damages are not paid around $30 million. And the client and Anas Kasa say a woman saw pay $30 million, and yes, he can't all pay. In fact, he wants his name to be cleared, and then the priority of going to court.
Yes,
but because of the experience now, unim sibi anyo mateno, no client here Anas Kasa and say it will be better and to be reasonable to at least settle on $80 million. And I'll say, no client and us, you did not really agree, but because he respects you as his counsel and as a lawyer, you people ended up around that money, around that figure, which is $80 million.
Oh, yes, and like I said, you're a lawyer at Aremeyaw, New York.
Oh, yeah.
And also come home. Andrew D here.
Yeah, you are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Aremeyaw is there.
Yes.
D here is there. Crow is there. Yourself. Basically, as we are speaking to you, we are speaking to all of them because.
Yes. So, the whole team agreed on that, but he was the only reluctant one in settling the matter. But But procedurally, we couldn't go to trial without actually going through to the settlement conference.
Yes.
Now, in spite of his reservations, we still almost cut our demand down to about a little over half.
Okay.
But to our surprise, yeah, Papa buy and also no bet $10,000 to end the case.
No.
And I want to arbitrate and I who said no, some way I'm sure so I can papers, So he said basically go and take your gamble in the courtroom. So that's how we ended up going to trial. So to go back to how it ended, so at about 4:50 on Thursday, the jury brought us in and they told us unanimously what they had arrived at. But we decided to keep it under wraps because there was a component you multiply 18 million by 5 money do 90 million for a total of about
that was the plan.
Yeah, that was the plan. Yeah, because
to do that. Okay.
Yes. And then you decided to say but we are bold with coming public with the finding of culpability on Thursday.
Yeah.
Gonna pay a coin we ended up leaving that alone. A pursuit of ×5 because almost file emotions be I just say or see a two a boss now in terms of that and sana say one way or another I go back I could pursue that ×5 and I say depending on what happens maybe I bit me German and cafe. But at this time almost my court no say busa into so.
Okay. So at this point Oma Makote who say ombeba 80 million or omo penteso. How many days do they have to file that? Okay.
So at this point, the next thing that's going to happen is that there's going to be a paper, a judgment. I just say court in seal better so.
Yeah.
That will take a few days, and then after that, I believe there's a 5-day rule that's within which you can file that motion. So a bay motion, matese binukasa appeal by nya appeal depending on how that motion goes.
Okay.
We will get a chance. We may get a chance to attempt to get our ×5 of that 18 million, or a big jam and so depending on how that motion goes.
So for now,
yes.
18 Obintiminka said that is the end of the case. It depends.
No, it's not because hypothetically, so much to grab back 10, we still have the opportunity to go for ×5.
That is 50. Okay.
Yeah, into call extra 50 plus. Yeah, hypothetically, so much to back 10 we can go for another ×5.
You as a Ghanaian and also a lawyer and defending a fellow lawyer who is a journalist. This has been an experience. Do you want to share something with us when it comes to these kind of defamations and how comparing our judicial system back home and in the States? I'm not forcing you to condemn any, but I'm trying to find out from you. There are so many people in Ghana, they don't really understand how the American judiciary works because we are so used to the Ghana style of judiciary whereby things go a certain way, and I would say sometimes very, very slow, and sometimes you need to know something for even things to move the pace you want. In terms of how this case, how fluid it went, and comparing it to back home. I'm saying back home because I am more concerned back home, and especially when Kennedy presented a case which is the same defamation case, and he tried to use that as a basis that what he did was right. From your experience as a professional, I don't want to say what have you learned. What do you want to share something with us before you go?
Yeah. Me share all the young people in Ghana. Me show them crying say. Yeah. Now the country is a young country, so I tend not to criticize too strongly.
Yeah.
But Oman and young people need to take their rightful position in the country because yena ebeja omana mine. You know, my only thing is that the people young people see that it's wrong or they know it's wrong, they need to stand up for their rights. The country is still young, so I would not be pointing any fingers at anybody. But we do my me American I'm school from high school. I be lawyer, and you know I know America very well. And for the past 7 years, I was licensed in Ghana in 2014, and I've been practicing actively for the last 7 years in Ghana. See, I know the problems that we face. I wouldn't. I think it's a systemic problem that allows people to hide in there to sort of engage in certain conduct that because democracy, you know, say the system, justice system, does if it does not guarantee justice, and then one day, you know, there's going to be a problem. And you know, Omano, I like to direct my comments to all young politicians, those who have entered the fray. You know, about 40 and less. You know, let's not, if we see things that are not right, let's not say because you benefited from it because your party we want to say party we you know we're going to condone it. We all need to make sure that we are contributing to building a Ghana that we can all live in. And you know, I would like to end on that. The system is not perfect. There are many things that we can do to also improve it. I will not talk about the substance of some of the things, but I also think the judiciary in Ghana is burdened with a lot of work. There are certain things that exist here in the US that they don't have that perhaps need to be implemented. Some of these judges in this country, in the US, are ably assisted by law clerks who help them lessen their burden. But like I said, the young people in Ghana, we need to look at ourselves, because I've had judges tell me, say, I've suggested that, and I've had judges tell me, say, oh no, if a young person cry, but an office on your we want to leaky judgment at this car before the judgment is granted. So I will not be pointing fingers at, what happened in Ghana was a travesty of justice. I'll say that. Without mincing words.
The defamation now Kennedy Winnie.
Absolutely, because I'm now a solid which back to the maybe I can say before a court can pronounce someone as a criminal, there ought to be a due process ought to be followed. And I have a publication that is going to come out on this subject in a very near future. You know, for the courts to have called my client a criminal without giving him a criminal trial was a travesty of justice. And the court in New Jersey rightfully classified that as obiter is dicta. It can never be a criminal conviction.
So that
because one of the things
that was how the court in New Jersey, the Superior Court in New Jersey, actually addressed that particular.
Yes, because the will be criminal. The will be criminal. You can bring proof to say the person has been adjudged to be a criminal. You understand? So say the Ghana judgment by na court na jurors na so and when we brought a police clearance certificate at CID headquarters through the proper normal channels, we got it. It was sealed before we brought it to court, and that was giving more credence than what the judge said about Anas being a criminal, because that is the right thing.
How do you feel as a Ghanaian lawyer, a young Ghanaian lawyer standing before a U.S. judge, making a statement like this from a court in Ghana? I feel it's quite embarrassing. Like I said, our country is growing. We are the U.S. is 200 and something years old. We are 60 something years old. So I like to always look at things from an optimistic standpoint. I hope that this is going to be a lesson, because Ghana is not Ghana. Just by dint of even some of your papa no cry amount for Ghana. Ufa Uber Krumwa. I remember say in the middle of the trial, Uber be a driver and I catch him say, I'm for Ghana tourism country. Mano is young, but it's a country that we all need to protect and we need to guard zealously. And that starts from the delivery of justice, because we
no one should have to feel that they need to go outside the four corners of Ghana to get justice. Justice emanates from the people, and we have enough people in Ghana. But judges now, because I saw recently, judges know. Almost TV, so they are educating people about the jury system. As part of our civic responsibility, it will also go a long way, along with amending the laws, not to allow more juror participation in different kinds of cases now.
Lawyer Evans Selassie Adeka, our 70 Esquire. So thank you very much, and I'll also say thank you to your colleagues that helped. In this case, Andrew De Gea, also Arthur Wemega Esquire, and Aday Crow. I would like to say, really appreciate your time. You've educated us and also made things very clear to Ghanaians.
I'd like to point something else. So there were a few things that I think I glossed over. I think I told you said the threshold that we had to meet in the US was much higher than in Ghana. And in that regard, one of the allegations that was made is that you are a serial killer in terms of multiple Chinese. What was appalling, and say video proof. Say proof say I'll be dinner stand no say Chinese for it was an embarrassment because some video be say prekonayo namoya hangi wo unu say hangi mamudia no so no
and then on be show say
but it was definitely what he said he was going to produce, and I think that really disgusted the jury because and it's not something to accuse someone of likely.
Thank you very much for clarifying this. Ivan Selassie Adeka Esquire, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate every single minute you've shared with us here. At least, they are way out to rest for now. From your explanation on that's a case we enya and there. The response from the defendant, Kennedy Agyapomg, the lawyers, so we're waiting for them to also file what they have to file. Now, I share where it goes from where we are now.
And just to clarify, any response, so and can I for times 5 for no?
Yeah.
The assembly attitude, just say, no person much. Now, for the sake of transparency, no, be in your time now, or yes, we be yano na almost them there, judging better so. The almost them when you're dance why, be 18 now, decided that, we have some decisions to make. What I said, and not appeal, but the thing is appeal, the difficulty is appeal, US, answer no which me appeal, he needs to put the full $18 million down in a bond. Answer no which me appeal, no. And we Bob Bryant today, I'm sure say
and depending
on how that goes, we have the prerogative of deciding say we ever go for times 5 based on that 18 million if it stands, and I say almost so bad hypothetically even 10 and answer 12 krana will still decide to say was or bar up with a nice offer so big chase canana I'm not saying because I told you union or no so a lawyer, we'll work on we'll entertain that and decide say okay ABI young pesa times 5 no and I say because change now times 5 no. Because there are certain other things that happen. There are certain things that also happen that will influence our decision one way or another.
Yeah. Lawyer, we will be on standby. And I know, sir, maybe I know we will come back for more clarification and education. We really appreciate you very much. Evans Selassie Adeka Esquire, he has been our guest. He is one of the lawyers of Alnas Aremeyaw Anas. Wachech and Senmu Ejujum Emagana for Ehuno Kreno. I really want to say thank you very much to lawyer a year Ivan Selassie and the other lawyers or counsels that helped him, and I said Omoba together as a team to make sure Anas had a solid a year legal team backing him. No, a year Mr. Arthur Wemega Esquire, he was part of the council Anas lawyers. No, Andrew here is also part of Anas legal team. No, and Oday Crow was part, and as you know, a lawyer Ivan Selassie Adeka on your screen, he was also part of a Anas legal team. No, so Munyina Mate. I'm going to make a quick turn. Maybe I met your pictures and a video in court. Court actually, Anas legal team basically wrote to the court to give them permission to film what was happening in court. We have some short videos to show you about Nyoma Isiwo court, any pictures, any adia gallery kakra Isiwo court. So after this short break, I'll show you all that happened in court. You're still watching with all due respect extended version.
Onipa amount check. Na e bounce 1 year ontuai wakoto ni nyoma wo den why wonim se bofruit na wotia e na wo hwe me e na wo ka se dey be wo pa ma me so boy wo so ka you are part of it
okay
and the guy na essay you can't some work you don't follow
okay
you don't follow
Agyapomg until the court arrives at a decision that incriminates somebody and yet difficult to
go law school
arrives at a decision that until the court arrives at a decision that incriminates somebody and yet difficult to
go law school
until the court arrives at a decision that incriminates somebody and yet difficult to
go law school
until the court arrives at a decision that incriminates somebody and yet difficult to
go law school.
Get it Oscar, now we 80 million ska. And I get it Oscar. We see factory kakraka, cold store, fridge be breed, what can see any. Kennedy or some president to do betia. Ain't and then you see what court to the lawyer church him. Well, uncle law school me or lawyer Emma Yinayati, a year the echo. The possibility, and can say for now the 80 million is so. The possibility is about 90 million a high, and the possibility is about 60 or 50 million a very high. Kennedy appeal in Quadia and a lawyer in church him in the future no. So person appeal also of 18 suit at table so near the two can munia kataso ansanya kohwe appeal no but for now the Kennedy beba abeden abe kakra say bia yente so yate so kra mpo do ebia me de minim na ebia eteba bia 14 and also times e de ho nti hwe de besi o say ono client here Anas in decide here whether to apply for plus times 5 or times the no nti ene de yentumi ka ho asem say definite but the sigya so ne ka ho asem the sigya so ne second Agyapomg. As we speak now, or the Aremeyaw Anaska $18 million. I was say offi. Also, ko church on krata bi diaba. No problem. Anas and lawyers say omo chain. Ya teso kra no, yetumi teso kra bi $400 $18 million minus $400. Monya calculation na e Kennedy ntia dia aka no. Inti say yate so kwa ebia judge no obeso oteso jury no na say 80 million ebia oteso $330 kra inti 80 million minus $330 yenhwe de Kennedy betua eno so asem. Now let's enter the courtroom na yenhwe de see wo court and ewo courtroom New Jersey Kennedy Agyapomg any Anas case na and Kennedy he needs to pay $18 million 18. Remember Kennedy remember court also offered $9.5 million. Adena Kennedy pen or Anas a double number Kennedy. Na Kennedy saw up $9.5 million if you ho. And Anas I had a double 9.5 million amano. 80 Kennedy they now pen or Anas I had 2 amano. And then there was a Kennedy 2 Anas. Now court in summer a CNA and then Kenya show Mukra Moha Junior. Kennedy Agyapomg obetia Oscar and I send your call Kennedy Fui. Ba Omeyaw man kakra no so bi account say o se ba Omeyaw man $800 million onyim $80 million. Now see this when in summer is see your court dey bi am catch them you see this particular guy na me catch am say me siu no your friend Dada Fred this guy many Kennedy work court no or the misinformations be to abontene my legal team no they have put it together and Anas Kennedy case no ni din be mu in court these are part of the evidence Anas team no the legal team no edit this foolish man your friend that afraid me a call I will make sure say sika obeti okroma no ebe kuna to esika no ebe hunahuna na obenum eduro kunu ho I am going to sue him now Kennedy case no so no this fool Obemu. He was mentioned, and he is the tool. Any other foolish platforms Canada, Japan, Eddie misinforming Ghana for. Anas the one fan corner so anas the Ojana Manekoye, but I am going to sue because time I Canada, Japan, they be call court. I'm a winning case no. Sa branch betina TV so betina social media. You try tape sing go. E ka kire wi ase say judge no case no judge na endi asem ni ye. Obekọ court akochirem. Ono na be gina abonte beka kire nkofo say oh case no Kennedy wini. Until today I want him to know where announce case no. And remember oni Kennedy Japan na Facebook and otwa ntro mo amunim no mo kan chen say Kevin Taylor say he is going to meet me in court in Massachusetts. I am taking it to him. Me say this time obiya beda because you want to say anyane saa enkwasiafo system anything na make catch boys bi say munya mo kwase na mu di no New York Street ni so a mu hu bebi a mu bedi mu nkoma akọ me de nkwasiasem ne ba me so a I will catch you from your hole and make sure the Lord deals with you. Into so become as making sure say on krata do bibia gina na so. Into mun send a message when come the Fred. Where Anas case no, he was part of the evidence. Anas the can case time a mimi case ne ba no. Sa the Fred way o se kwasi ampanyi we etna TV so. Otwa atro eto judge no so. And most importantly otwa atro eto court no so. Not just a referee, no. Because I was waiting. I got my legal team to compile everything. And he needs to prepare himself for over $5 million. Yes, I am telling him. Some misinformation or best sending in public about a ruling from a federal court. Anything I'm in the picture to sono. Into more munim ni biamon kanjan say me, I am coming to him. Mima a little bit of it right after our case. Because I wanted my team to compile enough. It would that afraid no. Anas the Anas share na one for one back or two. By you. Sansa no kafa judge na otina mimi case no so. Misinformation a wo katum frame efa meme ho time Anasa case no court. Obeba American court abechirem. And I will make sure say over $10 million, we may sue you. You need to get ready. You need to get a lawyer. You need to be ready for what is coming. Because you're your boy who. We your boy who. It is why ready. Say over missing for me. I be the candidate. Wait for me because I'm coming with a 10 million suit. Me catch you. So get ready. Now these are some of the things that happened in court. It be ready. We are coming to serve you. Me ma catch you because we are one person who catch you papa. On can kure. Penyina when you say koko tia woto wano se boto ase. Tete abroche kan kwasi asem twantro. Yene nkora yesisu a ye bechichire man no. Wenum bagaya se tratatai kekan kwasi asem Jimmy. O de wasem akọ America judge so. Me share na me catch me team say they should be quiet. You know my lawyer. Obechire wo bibi wo America krom hanya wo de. What that afraid? Now, my mentor they see what court and the pictures and the videos. So this is what happened in court. Canada, Japan, you see during the hearing, no, Okojun saw 10 times. Obano anumusio Canada is frail. Why mre? On Nantia, what you saying? Oh, who the onfe? Nenisu Brino. Canada, Japan, you see in the court. Insu otusu baba go no ada no Okojun so no aba. Sikeni bele junso ehini eye esikeni bele otigana yenkanasem kwasiasam and the America court ye piana kwasha na ho we otumi gina Ghana court no odidi judge atem ni asoso so oh Mr. Kennedy oh honorable America court pure water ne serve no America court kede Japan pure water ne de man say no otidan wo sa akokọ makache Ghana for Sankofo na muso so Ghana na oboba no muhunahuna mo dada mo no. They are nobody in Europe and America.